Hold on.
Brandon, we're not doing this.
Brandon.
It was a Tuesday afternoon, October 24th, 2017, just after 2:30 p.m., when Illinois State Trooper Brian Frank spotted a vehicle pulled over on the shoulder of I-70 near Effingham. For any officer, a sight like that immediately triggers a professional instinct. Is someone in trouble? Is there an accident? Is this a dangerous situation? Frank, a dedicated husband and father to a young son, had been on the force for just under 3 years, but he was no rookie to the demands of the job. He pulled his patrol vehicle behind the silver Dodge Journey, its hazard lights flashing, and activated his Dashcam. What happened next would be etched into the grim annals of law enforcement history, a stark reminder of how quickly a routine act of kindness can descend into a fight for survival. The dashcam footage shows the initial, seemingly benign scene. Trooper Frank, 28 years old, exits his squad car, his movements confident and deliberate. He approaches the parked SUV cautiously, as he'd been trained, but with the intent to offer help. The driver, later identified as 4-year-old Christopher Watts, was already out of his vehicle, standing by the driver's side door. Frank asks the customary, "Everything all right, sir?" It's a moment of expected interaction, a blank, professional courtesy, but a chilling tension already hangs in the air, imperceptible perhaps to Frank at that precise second, but undeniable in hindsight. Watts's body language is off. He's not agitated, not overtly aggressive, but there's a stiffness, a guardedness that belies the simple act of a stranded motorist. As Frank closes the distance, the conversation remains minimal. He's asking if Watts needs assistance, if he's having car trouble. The situation is unfolding exactly as hundreds, thousands of similar encounters do every single day across America. But then, a subtle shift. Watts, instead of engaging directly, makes a movement towards his vehicle. Suddenly, without warning, the entire dynamic shatters. From within the open door of the Dodge Journey, Watts produces a handgun. The sound of rapid gunfire erupts, an explosion of violence that tears through the quiet of the interstate shoulder. Dashcam audio captures Frank's urgent, terrified cry. He's got a gun before he himself is struck. The suddenness is brutal. There's no negotiation, no struggle, just an immediate, unprovoked assault. Frank falls backward, the force of the bullets knocking him off his feet. He takes a round to the left shoulder, another grazes his head, and a third strikes his ballistic vest, saving his life, but still delivering a sickening impact. Despite the devastating shock, the pain, and the immediate threat of death, Frank's training kicks in. He returns fire from a seated position, emptying his magazine at Watts as the shooter continues to fire, hitting the trooper's squad car multiple times. It's a desperate, heroic act of self-preservation, a testament to an officer's will to survive against overwhelming odds. Watts, hit by Frank's return fire, scrambles back into his SUV and speeds away, leaving the severely wounded trooper on the shoulder of the highway, bleeding and fighting for his life. The silence that follows the gunshots is almost more harrowing than shooting itself. Frank, wounded but alive, is now alone, his body cam still recording as he struggles to comprehend what has just happened. He pulls himself up, calls for help on his radio, his voice strained but resolute. Shots fired. I've been shot. The call electrifies law enforcement agencies across the ride. A massive manhunt is immediately launched. This wasn't just an attack on an individual. It was an attack on the uniform, on the very fabric of public safety. Every available unit, every resource was channeled into locating the fleeing gunman. Watts, meanwhile, was on the run, a wounded, desperate man with nothing left to lose, posing an extreme danger to anyone who might cross his path. Within hours, Christopher Watts was apprehended. Tips from the public, combined with relentless police work, led authorities to a farmhouse in nearby Street Elmo. He was found wounded, consistent with Frank's return fire, and taken into custody. The motive, once uncovered, was tragically familiar, sickeningly simple. Watts was a desperate man with a history of parole, violations, drug abuse, and mental health issues. He had outstanding warrants, and the last thing he wanted was to go back to jail. It reminds us that every traffic stop, every call for help, every seemingly routine interaction carries with it the potential for unspeakable violence, and the men and women who answer those calls do so knowing that any moment could be their last.